Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Rewind That. It's your girl, Miss K. Alright, if this is your first time coming across my channel, welcome. I hope that you hit the subscribe button and like and comment and just take this ride with me, okay? Alright, today we are going to be going over the latest episode of The Chi, Season 3, episode number 2, called Bruford. Not sure what that means, but it is what it is, right? Okay, so let's get into this episode, guys. So the episode starts off with Kev, and he's looking around in Keisha's room, and we hear Cranes in the Sky playing by Solange. So he's looking around at all her stuff, and it kind of gives off a somber type feeling, you know, as if something has definitely happened to Keisha. So then we get a flashback of Kev and Keisha riding in the car with their mom, and Keisha's on the phone talking to one of her friends. So Kevin goes into her purse and takes out a birth control pill and pops it in his mouth, thinking it's a mint. So him and Keisha start fussing because Kev was like, ew, what kind of mint is this? It has no flavor. So now Nina wants to know what's going on. And long story short, Keisha gets in trouble because now her mom done found out that she's having sex. The only thing that confused me about this scene was that Keisha was in the backseat telling her friend Malaysia that Drake could get it. All right. And to me, if you're not comfortable talking like that in front of your mother, then it shouldn't have been a surprise to Nina that Keisha was getting it in. Like, Nina, what do you think she meant when she was telling her friend that a guy could get it? Okay. Even though we was talking about Drake, we're still talking about a man, and your daughter is saying that this man could get it. I don't know if the mom couldn't hear but the music was not loud, and they are not way in the back seat. This is not like it was an SUV and they way in the back and Keisha talking low. So I just didn't really understand that. I was really under the impression that she was allowed to talk like that in front of her mom because her mom knew she was having sex. So whatever. Anyway, so Kevin is back to the present and now looking for clues on Keisha's laptop. So he sees a text from Malaysia, who was also trying to get a hold of Keisha. He responds to Malaysia and lets her know that Keisha has been gone for 2 days, and he asks her, does she know where Keisha is? So then Kevin hears his mom coming, right, and he rushes out the room. Nina wants to know why he's rushing off and if Keisha was in her room. So, of course, Kev tries to cover up for her, and Nina is not having it, okay? She ain't stupid. She can tell that Kevin is covering for Keisha, all right? And she tells him that he's going to be in trouble if she finds out he's lying, because she could tell that something's up and that Keisha did not come home last night. Next, we see that Emmett is catering another event, and it's a baby shower this time. So he orders Postmates because he wasn't trying to have like a repeat of Nina and Dre's wedding. But as the guests eat the food, we see that they recognize the restaurants that the food came from. But you know, he still got paid, so I guess it was all good. Next, Nina and Dre go up to Keisha's school looking for her, but the principal tells them that Keisha has had a lot of absences lately. Meanwhile, Kev is lurking outside because he wants to ask Malaysia where he could find Keisha. So Malaysia tells him where Keisha's boyfriend is and that he's a part of the 63rd Street mob. She also tells him not to tell Keisha where he got the information. Next, Jake comes home with his shoes on, and Duda pretty much has a fit, okay? He tells Jake that if he wants to continue living there with him, he needs to listen and respect the rules. Duda also told Jake that his brother Trig came back into town because he wants his little brother back. But Jake says Trig is dead, and Duda says, I don't think that's true. So Jake says, well, he's dead to me, you know, because he's like, I don't know him. Then he tells Duda that he wants to stay with him. So Duda says, then take your freaking shoes off when you come into my house. And he was looking all deranged when he said it too. So from the looks of things, guys, Duda makes Jake nervous, all right? And I feel like some of his answers were just to please Duda. Like he was giving Duda the answers that he wanted to hear, or he thought he wanted to hear. I also feel like with this scene, we were able to get a little glimpse of Duda and Jake's dynamic, right? Which basically shows us that, yes, Duda has taken Jake in, you know, to take care of him, but he doesn't care for him. It's like he's just his provider, and that's it. You know, there's no real relationship being built here. And I think this will ultimately play a role in Jake and Trig's relationship as well. If Jake starts comparing his situation with Duda versus receiving actual love and care from his brother, he might want to stay with Trig instead, but we'll see, because I'm kind of getting ahead of myself a little bit. But next, we have Trig telling Imani a little backstory about his father and the events leading up to his father leaving him and his mom. This all came up because Imani wants to know why Trig hasn't gone to see Jake yet. Trig tells her that it takes time, but after he told her the story about his dad and how his mom got depressed after he left, we learned that by the time Jake was born, Trig was on his way out the door. So Jake doesn't know him like that. Therefore, it's not going to be so easy for him to just convince Jake to come live with him. But Trig is determined anyway. He says that he wasn't there for Jake when he needed him, and that Jake is the only blood he has left. So Imani says, then you need to go see him and tell him you're his brother and you love him. Next, Trig gets into an altercation with a gay man in a gay bar. So it's here that we find out that Imani is a transgender female, which for me was a confirmation because I was already looking at her and kind of wondering already, you know. So I'm glad they cleared that up for us. Anyway, Imani is upset with him because she doesn't think it's right for Trig to say he loves her but hate her people. But Trig tells her that, you know, to him, she's a woman and that's all he sees when he looks at her. All right, so this scene right here with the revealing of Imani being a transgender female, I kind of feel like, okay, this was the reason why Barton, right? Barton. This was the reason why the actor Barton got fired from The Chi, right? Because he refused to play this role where he was going to be in love with the transgender female. That was the rumor. I'm not sure if that's totally true, you know what I'm saying? But that was the rumor. Now, my thoughts on this is that if that was Lena's plan, I don't think that plan would have really worked for Reg, if you get what I'm saying. Like, Reg, you know, Reg wasn't that type of dude that would stay in a relationship with a transgender female. So let me explain, right? If you think about Reg, right, compared to Trig, Reg was obviously violent. He was careless, reckless, same thing pretty much, right? And didn't have much compassion about anything, right? And irresponsible as well, right? So for me, all right, Reg, if he would have got himself caught in a situation where he fell for a woman that was transgender female, all right, he found this out, right? The Reg that we know would kill this person, okay? That's my opinion. I'm basing it off on characters right now. The Reg we know would have killed Imani, all right, after finding this out. Not only would he have killed her out of anger, he would have killed her to shut her up, to make sure that stays between them and it doesn't get out. You know what I mean? So for me, I don't know what Lena was planning on doing. Maybe she was planning on doing it like that, where Reg kind of got caught up and found out that the woman he was sleeping with or falling for was a transgender female, and he did kill her. Maybe she wanted to shed some light on that, right? If that is the case, then I feel like, yeah, that would have worked. But if she wanted to do to Reg what we see happening with Trig, that wouldn't have been fitting for his character, because that's not what we know Reg as. When we see Trig as somebody who, yes, he's violent as well. We're learning that he does have a short temper, but he seems to have a heart of compassion. You know what I'm saying? He has some roots where we learn that he had a father who left them, but before the father left, he was an involved man in his life, a loving man, someone that was tender towards him, not harsh or anything like that. And, you know, but a situation happened where he got really depressed and he left his family, which is no excuse. But there's something different that's rooted in Trig than that was rooted in Reggie. Like, I feel like Reg was probably he just grew up without a dad, and that was that, you know. We have Trig, who has a memory of his father, which is good, and then we also have the bad, which his father left. So Trig has more compassion. So with the compassion that Trig has, it makes more sense for him to be accepting of this situation with Imani. Another thing is that we don't know Trig. So you could do whatever you want with this character at this point, meaning the creators. They could do whatever they want with this character at this point because we're being introduced to him and we don't know him. So whatever they throw at us, we got to take. But if they were going to throw this in with Reg's character, to me, it just wouldn't have fit because it would have been out of character for Reg, if you get what I'm trying to say. So I don't think it would have been believable for Reg to be in this situation. All right, so let's move on. Next, Nina and Dre sit down with the police officer to answer some questions. The officer wants to know when the last time Keisha was seen. So everybody's looking at Kevin like, hello, what's up? Let us know what's going on, right? So Kevin is still trying to cover for Keisha and says, I guess Monday morning. But the officer says that, you know, Kevin needs to be sure about this. So Kevin says, I don't remember. And Nina says, stop lying. This isn't a game. So Kevin finally says that the last time he saw Keisha was Sunday night. She went out to a party and didn't come back. So they're looking at Kevin like, are you serious? She didn't come back. What are you talking about? And he's like, well, she told me not to tell, you know. Anyway, so Kevin said that he thinks that she's with her new boyfriend. So once Kevin said that, the officer pretty much dismissed the situation and assumed that she knew what it was all about, okay? She's like, ma'am, I've seen this before, you know, a young lady goes and gets infatuated with her new boyfriend, and next thing you know, they're playing house. So Nina wasn't trying to hear that, okay? She tells the officer that she knows her daughter, and she wants to fill out a missing persons report. Next, Kevin meets up with Jake to get a ride to school from Duda. Kev tells Jake that he still hasn't heard from Keisha, and he's afraid that she's dead. So Jake says, bruh, she ain't dead, right? He tells Kev that he knows what it feels like to lose a sibling. And he doesn't wish this on anyone. He lets Kev know that he has his back and they will find Keisha. Next, Emmett goes over to meet with Dominique, who not only cooks food from her house, but apparently runs an illegal restaurant inside her home as well. Now, Emmett talks to her after she whips up a scrumptious meal for him, and he wants to get her to cook for him and split the money 50-50. Dominique tells him that she's good right where she's at, right? And she doesn't do it for the money. She does it for the culture. But when Emmett brings up the possibility of the health department coming in to shut her down, she decides to hear him out. So he tells Dominique to meet up with him at a certain address. Now, also, what I wanted to mention about this scene is they talked about Brandon for a hot second, right? And Dominique was like, oh, you that Negro that used to work with Brandon. And he said, yeah, may he rest in power. So she was like, he wasn't ish, talking about Brandon. And I was just like, are they seriously doing this right now? And by they, I mean the writers and creators. I just felt like, wow, did they really have to go there? All due respect to them and everything, but that comment was not befitting for Brandon, all right? Brandon was a upstanding guy, and he was trying to do the right thing with his life. You know, he wasn't into anything illegal. He was just a guy raised on the mean streets of Chicago, trying to make it out and make it work for himself, right? Chasing his dreams. So for them to add that in and write that in, for Dominique to say that Brandon was an ish, that was wrong in my opinion, all right? Because as producers, writers, creators, whatever, they should know better to separate the actor, which is Jason Mitchell, from the character, okay? Whatever Jason Mitchell did, we don't know the story, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what really happened behind closed doors and what really led him to get fired, all right? There's allegations out there and everything, but we don't know what's real and what's not, you know? But let's say that he is guilty of it. And I'm not saying he is. I'm saying let's say he's guilty of this, right? What does Brandon have to do with that? And that's my point. Like, it don't fit Brandon. So why did you have this person? Why did you have Dominique say that statement? It don't fit. So as someone who is into creating myself, I don't see the connection. I'm not feeling how they added that in there and threw that shot, because to me that was like a cheap shot. To me that was a dig at the actor, and it just didn't make sense, you know, because we all loved Brandon, did we not? Forget about Jason Mitchell. No disrespect to him. I'm actually a fan of his work, you know, and I wish him the best. But Brandon, we all liked Brandon. Many of us said, you know what, Brandon's not going to be on the show. I'm not watching the show anymore. You know what I'm saying? But here we are, okay? But for them to throw in that dig like that, I'm not here for that. And I just had to say that, okay? We need to separate the artist, Jason Mitchell, from the character who's now dead, Brandon. So as far as I'm concerned, because of the person that Brandon was, there should be no malice or any kind of degrading comments coming out of any of the other characters' mouths when it comes to Brandon, because he wasn't that type of dude. You get what I'm saying? Anyway, all right. Next, Trig meets up with Jake and lets him know that he wants him to come live with him. Jake tells him that he's good and that Trig doesn't have to worry because he's not going to end up like Reg, because he knows the game, you know. So Trig tells Jake that he doesn't know anything. You need somebody to guide you, he says. So Jake says, dude is guiding me. And Trig says, that's my job, not his. So Jake says, well, you haven't been around. So after Trig tells Jake that he used to be around and took him and his friends to Six Flags, Jake kind of loosened up a bit and he listened, but then told Trig that he had to get back to work. So Trig says, look, if you want me to leave, just say the word. Jake thought about it for a minute and was like, nah, you ain't got to leave. And you could see that Trig was very relieved by Jake's answer. Anyway, the brothers agreed that they would get to know each other. Next, Jada done reached out to Suede so she can get a massage and a happy ending, okay? She took this advice from Tiffany, who also gave her the card to call Suede. She also took Tiffany's advice to go speed dating, which didn't work out. So after Suede leaves Jada's apartment, he runs into Emmett, who he happens to know from school. Now, Suede is bragging away to Emmett about his job as a masseuse and how he gives happy endings sometimes. He tells Emmett that he just wrapped up with a client from the second floor. Once Emmett finds out that Suede is talking about his mom, Suede gets the heck up out of Dodge, okay? And that was some cool comic relief that we needed after this whole Keisha situation, right? So anyway, Emmett goes upstairs and he's trying to lecture his mother like, Ma, I went to school with him. You can't embarrass me and this can't ever happen again. And while he's talking, he's opened up the window and spraying Febreze all over the room. And Jada ain't paying Emmett no mind, okay? She was like, boy, I'm grown. Next, Dre is trying to track Keisha's steps, okay? She used the tracker on Keisha's phone and winds up under the tunnel or bridge, you know, wherever Ronnie and the other homeless folks live. So Dre is asking around and showing the people a picture of Keisha and asking if they've seen her. So everyone says no, but when she gets to Ronnie, he tells her that he saw her at the bus stop, but she didn't get on the bus. So y'all know what happens, right? Dre asks about Keisha's phone, and Ronnie goes to retrieve it from another homeless guy who collects phones he finds. But the phone is all jacked up, so before leaving, Dre tells Ronnie that if she finds out he has something to do with this, she's gonna come back and kill him herself. Lastly, Kev, Papa, and Jake go over to where Nuck stays and ask if Keisha is there. Nuck says no, but Kev doesn't believe him and tries to push past Nuck. And of course Kevin couldn't get past him, okay, because Nuck blocked him and he's bigger than him, right? So then Nuck also pulled out a gun and held it to Kev's head. And Kev was like, is that supposed to scare me? And he said, I ain't leaving without my sister. And that was how the episode ended, guys. All right. So before I wrap up, here's a few things that I wanted to mention, okay? So last week, Keisha goes missing, all right? Obviously, she got snatched up, okay? So my thought process was like this. She must be returning somehow, right? Because when I look at the trailer for the whole season, there's clips of Keisha in the trailer. You know, we have her running, we have her sitting down at a diner talking to Kev and things like that. And so I'm like, it's either they found her, right? And she's going to be all right. Or these are memories that Kevin is having, okay? Now, today it confirmed that there are going to be flashbacks. The reason why I thought that it was going to be memories, because I was thinking, well, if Keisha's missing and this is going to become like a mystery of this season, having her and having her in those clips in the trailer, it's kind of like a spoiler, right? And so it's letting us know, okay, Keisha's going to be okay. But I had to really think, and I'm like, nah, it ain't going to be that easy, okay? This has to be a memory. So I started to get a little scared, like, oh gosh, that means that Keisha is probably dead. You know what I'm saying? And this is Kevin thinking about her. But like I said, today we got that. We're going to see more flashbacks as the season goes along, and we can't find Keisha, but Kev is going to be thinking about her. All right. Another thing is, do I think Keisha's dead? I'm really hoping that she's not dead. I really, really hope she's not dead. But it's a possibility. With the way things are going, it's a possibility. However, I do believe that if she's not dead, then she was caught up in a sex trafficking ring. All right. That is what I do believe. And I'm more so gearing towards that than death. Because I think that Lena wants to shine some light on that. You know what I mean? And that's definitely appreciated. You know, I had my little issue about what they tried to say about Brandon, that little dig. But at the same time, you know what I mean? I could respect somebody and still not agree with certain things, and that's okay. You know what I mean? I'm not here to disrespect anybody. I'm just here to give my opinion, and that's that, you know? Anyway, let me know what you guys thought about this episode, guys. Do you think Keisha's dead? Do you think, like me, that maybe she's been caught up in sex trafficking? And also, I know I didn't really mention Ronnie in this whole homeless situation, but I did notice Ronnie acting a little funny throughout the episode. Like I said, I believe they're going to try to make it seem like Ronnie has had something to do with Keisha's disappearance and things like that. But I don't believe that he had anything to do with it at all. But when Dre was asking him about, you know, like, did you see Keisha, this and that and third, did you see this girl? He was acting a little suspicious. He was acting a little shifty. And I didn't really like that, but I'm not buying it at the same time, okay? Another thing is when he was in the bar and he met up with his the two friends or whatever that he talks to, they were like, how come we haven't seen you in a few days? And he was like, acting weird about that too. Like, oh, I had some things to do. I was busy. You know what I mean? So I know they're trying to push that whole thing, trying to make it seem like he has something to do with Keisha missing, but I'm not buying it, and that's that, okay? Another thing is, I keep seeing Tiffany smoking, and it's like, girl, are you pregnant or not? I would love for them to clear that up for us as well, because in last season, that was the thing. She told Emmett that she was pregnant. Is she pregnant or not? Okay, we need an answer. Anyway, that's that. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Thank you. Have a good night. Take care. Bye-bye.